has to be more of an emphasis for us on our personal pursuit of God and his purpose. Many people have tried to live their lives in the church. I grew up in church, so that's why I can say that. I can say this. Many people have tried to live their lives by just the thrill and the exciting part. You know, come to church, get prayed for, feel good, and then go out and try to live life. And that's why by Tuesday or Wednesday, you've already, you run out of gas and just crash, because you can't live off of the high. You have to have the Word of God, and you have to have a personal relationship with the Lord. And you just can't get around that. That's part of the Christian walk. The dilemma that many of us have faced, and as we've talked with some of you on our the Friday nights that you came to our home and we got a chance to talk one-on-one, it seems that the dilemma that most of us have faced has been that many pastors and leaders have placed more emphasis on your commitment to the church than your commitment to God. And they make it seem as if, though, if you're not committed to the church, then you are not all that committed to God. And so we're trying to make a distinction, a very clear distinction. There is a difference between being committed to church and church activities and being committed to God. And what we're trying to do is to help you in your personal pursuit of God, so that even if we can't meet, think about it. As we go into the winter, every winter we always have at least 1 week that we can't get together at all because the weather is so bad. But when your commitment is there with God, it doesn't matter if you didn't get to, quote, come to church that week. You don't lose your fire. You don't lose your enthusiasm. You don't lose your focus, because your life is not revolved around church and church activities. Your life is revolved around the Lord. And I'm in a personal pursuit of him. I'm after him every day like that. So it starts off with my morning. I know that personally, I read the Oswald Chambers devotional. On a personal level, I read that as my personal devotional book. And then as far as my Bible reading, I got back to it again. I'd gotten away from it because I'd gotten so busy. But I've gotten back to, there's a 1-year Bible that breaks up the scriptures for you. And it goes through the Bible in chronological order. And you're able to read through the entire Bible. And so I do those two things as part of my getting of the Word. And the Lord's always waking me up early in the, why is it always early? Early in the morning. And so that's not just because I'm a pastor. I don't do that because I'm a pastor. I discovered that I had to do that as a husband in order to cover my wife. I needed to be doing that as a father in order to cover my children. And so we're saying to you that with all of the pursuing, with all that you're going after in this world, with all that you're going and trying to achieve, you and I must make the pursuit of God and his purpose. You got to put that at the top of the list. That has to be at the top. And we're just a church family. We as leaders, we're trying to help you in your personal pursuit. Bless the Lord. Yes, did you raise your hand? Oh, no. I thought John raised his hand.
That's the spirit. I can't be around it. And I seen that all week.
Yeah.
I sat back and cried and weep and watched. God just said, keep quiet. And I seen a lot of things, Pastor, that I couldn't wait to come to church. But the enemy didn't want me to bring it out because I'm still trying to keep my mouth shut. God got me where keep your mouth shut and just listen. And that's all I had to say.
What you will find, and that's part of the reason why the emphasis that we have right now as a church family on the personal pursuit of God and his purpose, because there will always, John, there will always be people around you who have knowledge and know more. There will always be. the reason why we're talking so much about the personal pursuit and the teaching aspect of the ministry being emphasized right now is so that you can be sure on a personal level of the Word of God. Have confidence in God and His Word. As long as it's sort of an indicator for you right now. As long as what other people are saying on your job, even other believers that are around you on the job, and you see them saying one thing, living another way, or people from other churches that you may see doing that. As long as that's bothering you, as long as that's intimidating you, then that means that you still don't have your focus on the Lord in the way that's going to help you. For instance, when you get locked into a local church, God does that He's very intentional in that. He brings you into a local body of believers, puts you under a particular pastor. So that would be me and my wife. Because evidently for this season in your life, there's something that what we are imparting, what we are giving out is what John needs in this season of his life. That's also why we don't try to lock people into, you're going to always be a member of this church and you'll be here forever. Because you will change and the seasons of your life will change. And we may give you all that we can give you, and you need something beyond what we can give you. So God will then move you on to the next place where you can receive what you need, because that pastor will have what you need. I heard a great man of God put it this way to help us pastors. He said this at a pastor's conference. He said, "Pastor, you're a bus driver. People get on your bus. You take them as far as they can go. But after a while, they're going to ring the thing because they want to get off. Because this is as far as you can take them. So don't be offended when people want to get off your bus. Because that means they got to get on another bus because there's someplace else they're going. So a bus driver doesn't get mad because somebody gets off the bus and they transfer and get on another bus. Why? Because they're going in a different direction from where you're going. Your bus is going to a particular place. That ain't where they're going. So you can only take them to the corner as far as they could go with you. But another bus is going in a different direction, and they got to get on that bus. And that pastor and that leader is teaching what they need to get them to where they got to go. Now, what you are encountering is people who are on they're going in different directions. We're all in God, but God may be leading some people in a particular direction. The problem that you have is that people begin to teach their understanding about the direction that God has taken them as a doctrine. Everybody should be on this path, going in this direction in God. And no, but they don't know, because that's where, like you said, knowledge puffs up. So they start assuming things about other people, about other churches, about other pastors. There are people who do have a problem with me and my wife teaching about healing and inner healing and security of the believer. The reason why is because it wasn't their orientation. It wasn't how they were brought into the things of God. Also, for whatever direction that the Lord is taking them, a lot of times I ain't gonna say they never dealt with, but very few of them, they may not have much grace or compassion for people who've been through stuff like what we've been through. They may not have ever even been around people that have been through the stuff that you and I, we've talked about. Or they don't even that's not part of where they're going. So they don't see that as very important, or much emphasis needs to be on that. I don't fault them. I don't get on them about it. I just know that whatever direction that they're headed, they'll go to a church where the emphasis is on certain things. They may go to a church where the total emphasis is all about holiness and people living right and people living clean. It's legitimate teaching. But if they hear that you go to a church where they're always talking about love, then they will sometimes feel superior to you because they don't feel like all that love stuff needs to be emphasized. And so that leaves you kind of wondering, well, okay, is my pastor off because he's putting the emphasis there? Because this pastor's teaching about holiness, and they're teaching about, all these and political active things that we need to be doing in the community. And so is Pastor Chris and Pastor Carol, are they not really on target? Because I don't hear nobody else teaching that. And that's the warfare believe me, I understand the warfare. Because like, okay, are my pastors and them really on target? Because I don't hear nobody else teaching this. Are they wrong? Is it me? That's the warfare. So you have to understand that God will place you in a particular church, bring you into certain teaching because of what he's doing in your life.